C1music.fm. Let's talk about it. It is your host for the evening, Aaron Robinson and Jennifer Evans. What's going on, Jen?
Hey, hello, and how are you? I'm doing good.
Good. We also got another special guest in the building, a returning guest, our good friend of the show, Madison Holloway.
I really, in my mind, did one of those princess waves in the pageant.
All right, so we're doing Order in the Court Part 3. I don't know if it'll be a Part 4, maybe, but we are doing an Order in the Court Part 3. So if you all who listen to Part 1 and Part 2 are following us, we're doing this one. We're introducing a new marriage. And if you are the first time listener on this episode, please go back and listen to our last 2 episodes, as this will be part of the series of Order in the Court Part 3. All right, so what we're going to do again, and I'm going to recap what we talked about before, signs of a bad marriage and the characteristics of a bad marriage. That was listed from a young lady who wrote in Broads.com. She wrote an article, and she said the signs of a bad marriage were as follows. You feel contempt for your partner. That was number 1. Your partner makes you feel bad about yourself. That was 2. You feel controlled by your partner. That's 3. You stay only to minimize negative impacts in your family. That's part 4. That's point 4. You might be having an emotional affair. You stopped arguing entirely. And the last one was your body language shows disinterest. All right. And she said what to do, what you should do if you're in a bad marriage. It can be overwhelming to realize your marriage is no longer what it used to be. So she listed a few ways to begin moving forward. And those 3 points was to work with your partner to right the course, seek an outside perspective, and the last point was to start taking the necessary steps to move on. Now, we applied this information to a Bible story last week, just to give y'all a small recap. And based off of that conversation, I want to know, is there anything, being that we had a week or so to process what happened from the last episode, is there anything that, Jennifer, you want to sprinkle onto that show as we go into this one?
I stand firm. I really didn't think it was a bad marriage. I think I was like, sort of, kind of, but I think their marriage was pretty good. That's what I think I'm changing to say I stand firm on it was an okay marriage.
Okay. What about you, Madison?
I am still in the same boat of thought processes and likewise to Jen.
All right. Well,
great minds think alike.
What with me, overall, I don't think that was a bad marriage to say. I think they had some elements and signs of a bad marriage, but I feel like at the end, God put his imprint on it, and it came out to be a powerful testimony. And I think ultimately that's the story. But getting up to that point, there were, to me, definitely signs of a bad marriage. Like I said, God put his imprint on it, and it ended up being a great story. If you was to read the 2nd chapter of 1 Samuel, I think that it's a great testimony.
Gotta have tests for a testimony.
Which brings us to our new story today. And the only reason why I even jumped into this story was because in my previous show, on Countless Times, Cuz, Mrs. Jennifer Patrice, randomly always throws this Abigail name out there. And
That's my girl.
So today we're going to read if Abigail was in a great marriage or not. We're going to look at the characteristics that she showed in this marriage and examine if her or her husband, Nabal, exemplified or showed signs of this bad marriage. All right? Are y'all ready to jump in?
Who next?
Right and
Jump
ready.
in. Let's go.
All right, so I'm going to read to everybody quickly. I'm going to try to go through this. We're going to read 1 Samuel, I believe it's chapter 25, and verses 1 through, I don't know, at the end, probably be to 44 when we actually read the whole chapter. But we're going to start at 25, verse 1, and we're going to work our way down. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. I'm reading from the NCV version, as that is an easy version to read and still stick with the concept without having to be a story type tell. So let's do it. Now Samuel died, and all the Israelites met and had a time of sadness for him. Then they buried him at his home in Ramah. David moved to the desert of Moab. A man in Moab who had land at Carmel was very rich. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats. He was cutting the wool off his sheep at Carmel. His name was Nabal, and he was a descendant of Caleb. His wife was named Abigail. She was wise and beautiful, but Nabal was a cruel man. While David was in the desert, he heard that Nabal was cutting the wool from his sheep. So he sent 10 young men and told them, "Go to Nabal at Carmel and greet him for me. Say to Nabal, 'May you and your family and all who belong to you have good health.'" We're on verse 7. "I have heard that you are cutting the wool from your sheep. When your shepherds were with us, we did not harm them. All the time your shepherds were at Carmel, we stole nothing from them. Ask your servants, and they will tell you, we come at a happy time, so be kind to my young men. Please give anything you can find for them and for your son David." Verse 9. When David's men arrived, they gave the message to Nabal, but Nabal insulted them. He answered them, "Who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? Many slaves are running away from their masters today. I have bread and water, and I have meat that I killed for my servants who cut the wool, but I won't give it to men I don't know." David's men went back and told him all Nabal had said. Then David said to them, "Put on your swords. So they put on their swords, and David put on his also. About 400 men went with David, but 200 men stayed with the supplies. I want to stop right there because I feel like we have to draw a little bit of drama to this story. All right. Madison, I'm going to ask you this first because I'm pretty sure this story is somewhat new to you. All right. You are Nabal and Abigail. Your men were away at some point in time with David's men, and David's men pretty much protected your men. All right? So right now, I'm not calling you Nabal or Abigail. I'm just saying you're the decision maker. All right? So your people went somewhere, and they were protected by David and his men. Some time had passed. You made some very great business decisions. And because of that, your area, land, or whatever, profited. David sees that you are doing your thing. So he says, all right, you know what? I'm going to send 10 of my guys to go over there and talk to you. And they want you to give up some of your bread. You know what I'm saying? So that they can eat and do whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come in to ask, not even ask for a loan. They're like, yo, I looked out for you and your people so that you can be in this position that you are in. You owe me. I'm coming to collect. All right. Nabal is like, nah, I'm good, man. I don't know you, man. Like, I don't owe you anything. That's pretty much his attitude. He has an attitude of, well, I don't owe you. Not even just like, yo, we did it on our own. My money is for me and my people. I'm not sharing it. That's his attitude. Is he wrong for feeling that way?
He could feel that way, especially of like the delivery of everything. You're not gonna come to me and then now of demanding you're gonna have these 10 men. That almost sounds like a. I would have felt a little away from it too, because you got these grown men talking for you, and then like in demands, like if we did good business and like there could have been a conversation. It just could have been a little different. So I can see why he had a bit of had a tude to things.
Nah, I don't know if he had a tude. I think that's just how he was.
Oh, that was the kind of person he was.
Let me add my 2 cents to this. This is like you having a recording studio, right? And you got your little recording studio, and it's good. It's good. You're doing good. But let's say somebody comes to you, shows up at your recording studio, a whole like a whatever, I don't know, posse. Let's say Yee's posse, right? Kanye West. He sends his posse and he says, "Hey, we representatives, like, Yee is here. He's coming into town tomorrow, and he wants to use your recording studio. So, he's just, he wants to come and use your recording studio. I remember he said back in the day, blah, blah, you wanted to record it with somebody and whatever. Anyway, it's Yee. Because let me preface it with David is well known. The man said, Nabal himself said, who is this man? Who is the son of Jesse? How you know his dad, but you asking who he is? So everybody knew David. David, when he was a little boy, killed Goliath like a giant. David, they like sing songs about David. So David ain't no little dude. This is not somebody that's not well known. This is like if Beyonce wants to come in and do a podcast. Y'all, what? And she sends her people. Beyonce ain't coming, but she's going to send her people. And they say, hey, Beyonce wants to use your podcast. Or say, Beyonce needs to borrow some mics for blah, blah. It's like Beyonce's in town and Ada messed up and Beyonce wants to use her mics. And you're like, who is Beyonce? Who is the daughter of whatever her mother's name is? I don't know. Who is she? I have my own studio and I use my studio for my people. Are you serious? That's where I'm just trying to put it into context, because that is actually the way David is.
But I don't
That's
see.
Actually, David is.
So let me say this to you, because I think in this, and again, I told you I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, but see, because I just from listening to you, even talk about Abigail, I think you praise Abigail as though she has no fault into the whole overall concerning situation. And although I think Abigail is cool at the end of all of this, she made some decisions, but I also think that she still has fault in this whole story. So I say all that to say, even though you pointed that out, right? I still feel like Nabal still has a right to say, nah, I'm good. I don't want to give you any of my stuff. So you're saying it from the standpoint, oh, it's David, oh, it's Beyonce. And like, because I can sit here and tell you right now, if I have a podcast studio, and you like, yo, Beyonce's coming to town, da-da-da. Like,
I don't even like Beyonce.
Yeah, I don't rock with Beyonce.
Okay, just because you're Beyonce,
I'm
the 10 minutes.
Wait. Beyonce can't come and slay you. David is a warrior.
I get that.
Okay,
but
so
hold on.
Okay.
Mayweather wants to.
But so if we're speaking from a right and wrong standpoint, even though David has the power to slay him or whatever, I don't think David was even right for doing it like that too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? To me, in this particular situation, I feel like David is being somewhat of a thug. You know what I'm saying? Because he is bullying him, and he's doing it somewhat out of desperation. You know what I mean? My man is over here balling, if you want to call it that. To me, Nabal is arrogant, so I will give you that. But arrogant and being dumb is not a reason for somebody to still, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but when you're at war, when you're a warrior, and when you're at war, and you occupy a city, you go in and you usually they loot and kill whomever to get what they need at that time. So if you're in the city and I'm attacking your city, and then there's someone, if there's sheep, there's a shepherd and some sheep, and we need food, we're gonna go in and steal your sheep, or if your shepherd fights us, we're gonna kill your shepherd. So that's what he was saying. Like, listen,
I hear you.
We could have, but we didn't, and now we just need something.
I hear you, but he asked for permission. He asked him, and he wasn't at war with Nabal.
He wasn't, but he's saying I could have. I protected you, and I didn't.
But have, could have.
I understand what you're saying. David is.
He's not at
flexing, but he can flex.
He can flex because he's the king, but he's not Nabal's king. I'm saying, what I'm saying to you is, does that mean that Nabal shouldn't have gave him anything? I'm not saying Nabal was right by not giving him anything, but I'm also,
it wasn't wise.
I don't think it was wise, but at the end of the day, I feel like Nabal had his choice. He had his choice to do that, and I don't fault him for doing it. Was it a wise thing to do? No, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're in your choice, yo. Somebody could say, yo, well, Beyonce's coming to town. It wasn't wise for you not to say that her people can't use your studio. Dude, I don't care nothing about no Beyonce, man. So Beyonce got paid my regular rates and everything else, you know?
But he didn't say that. But on top of that, he insulted him. On top of that, like that would be saying when Beyonce's
I'm also be honest with you. He knew who Nabal was too. Like, Nabal had bread. He had money. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I feel like what hold on. I feel like what Madison just said, like, yo, you sent like, yo, if it's all that and you need my stuff, come see me yourself. That's how bosses do business. You don't send, you know what I'm saying? Like, David went to go see him himself when he wanted to go fight.
Kings don't send them. Kings don't go. They send representatives. Kings don't.
It depends on what it is. And back in the day, the kings used to go meet with kings. And I'm not calling Nabal. I'm not calling Nabal a king at that time. But I mean, it's also you can also question if David was truly a king at the time too.
We'll agree. I agree with what you're saying. I agree that David came flexing and he shouldn't have come and all that. We're good. I agree. I agree with that. But I also and we agree that Nabal was not even unwise, just plain.
Yeah, he was very.
And he insulted them. I'm sure you realize that he shouldn't have insulted. Like, you don't insult somebody who has a song that says like they've slayed tens of thousands. Like, why would you even try? And he done came in just to ask, give what you can with 10 men. Like, he done already come with 10 men just to say, give what you can. So, and what you can should be enough for 10 of us to carry it back. He was already saying.
So let me ask you this question though, because I want to put this in perspective though, right? Now, did Nabal ask David's men to protect him when they was out?
No,
they just did it. They did it off the strength. They did it off because they did it because for them it was the right thing to do. And so now David is coming and requesting him like Nabal owes him. You know what I mean? And mind you, does Nabal owe him? In my personal perspective, yeah. You looked out for me. It's only right for me to look out for you. But when you come and like demanding me to do it, yeah, there's a difference between.
He didn't demand though.
The second time around, he is demanding.
You owe me.
No, the second time around, he said, "I'm just going."
Yeah, so I'm saying if to the point the first time, he insulted him. All right, but the insult was really
give what you can.
Yeah, the insult.
And Nabal said,
The insult.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because the thing is, Nabal don't have to give him anything. That's the true reality of it. Nabal don't have to give him anything. the right thing to do for Nabal was to give him something, especially because he looked out. Yo, I protected your men, but I don't have to give you anything, bro. Like you're not. It's not a. I never made a deal with you. You know, yo, you looked out for my people, cool. But you know what I'm saying? Like even then, when he was looking out for his people, I don't even know Nabal knew who he was then. Again, because this is probably prior to David even becoming a king. You know what I'm saying? Like David's still beefing with, you know what I'm saying, Saul at the time. So it's like he's not official king. He just the king of his own little people. In that regards, Nabal could say he's the king of his own people. But right now, David on a run. You know what I mean?
A bit of tit for tat. I do think there's levels of duality in this as well, because it's like
Duality.
Yes,
She loves
a lot of
duality.
it because it's everywhere. You gotta face it, and especially in these kind of scenarios, since like topic allowing, but for both of your viewpoints, or just like both of their viewpoints as well, of where you don't. Yes, it is owed. But like respectfully, we're both good businessmen. We're both kings in ways and such and whatnot. But like,
because we're gonna get to
Could've been different.
we're gonna get to the meat of the story.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the meat of the
okay.
story. But to me, like, here's I guess what my issue, and I think if I'm gonna take issue with anything that Jen is gonna say, right, especially when she sounds like she's gung ho about Abigail, and when I read the story, there's a lot of different things from a relationship standpoint or even a marriage standpoint that I think Abigail violated on. Even if for standards of marriage back in the day and even for standards of marriage today. And although the outcome, again, we know that the Bible says that Nabal was a evil, cruel man. But he was a cruel man before she married him. She was a cruel man while he married her, and he was a cruel man after he married her. And so, at the end of the day, to me, that don't give her a right to play her part the way she did. You know what I'm saying? But let's jump into this.
I don't. You already know I don't agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool. So, verse 12, David's men went back and told him and what Nabal had said. Then David said to them, "Put on your swords." So they put on their swords, and David put on his also. About 400 men with David, but 200 men stayed with supplies. One of Nabal's servants said to Abigail, Nabal's wife, David sent messengers from the desert to greet our master, but Nabal insulted them. These men were very good to us. They did not harm us. They stole nothing from us during all the time we were out in the field with them. Night and day they protected us. They were like a wall around us while we were with them caring for the sheep. Verse 17, now think about it and decide what you can do. Terrible trouble is coming to our master and all his family. Nabal is such a wicked man that no one even can talk to him. All right, verse 18, Abigail hurried. She took 200 loaves. So hold on, let's stop here. So one of Nabal's men runs to Abigail and lets Abigail know all that took place. All right? Yo, David's men came. David's men came. Nabal insulted them, sent them on their way. And now David is about to come out here and handle business. All right? Now, I want to ask you for a minute, Madison, since this is new to you. If you were Abigail, given the situation that you just now heard from one of Nabal's men was coming to you, what would be your response and what would you do?
Well, if it was like a situation of them coming to me being like, your man's being your man, it's like, oh, okay, he is. And then especially if he's like in the wrong, I in particular just wouldn't have chosen somebody like that to be in certain scenarios or deal with certain things. But then aside of that, then if he's wrong, I'll take that. Okay, I'll just go to my man about it.
So you would go to your man about it? Yeah, okay. That's what I think you're supposed to do too. But knowing that David, the bad guy. When I say bad guy, I don't mean bad guy, and I'm saying he's the tough guy. When I say the bad guy, I mean the tough guy. He's coming. So remember what Jennifer said earlier, that his name ring bells, right? People were singing praises to his name because he killed Goliath, right? So you don't know David personally, but you know of him because you heard about him. And now he's coming to pretty much take care of you, take care of your family, like, you know what I mean? Like, because Nabal insulted him. He's coming to bully y'all. Y'all, it could be a situation y'all gonna go to war, y'all gonna battle him. So my question again is, and more than likely, you're on the losing side of things. So my question to you now, with knowing that information, what would you do?
2 questions first. Slightly, can I be vocally audible, and can I use the H word?
No.
Dang it. The second one, then. Because I was about to sing it. But
can I be vocally, and can I use the
I don't want to
listen to that duality. No, I'm just
you know me.
I'm just joking.
You said what would be my reaction to that?
Now knowing the information that Jenna, did I tell it correctly or no?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you listen to what he read, look at the last sentence, the last part of the last sentence. Nabal is such a wicked man that no one can even talk to him. This is what his servant is telling you. And you already know, because in the first time, at the beginning of this passage, when they were talking, when they were describing to you who Abigail was and who Nabal was, they described him as evil and mean. Evil and mean, that he's wicked and no one can even talk to him. So you're saying you're going to your husband, but your servant probably already has tried to, appeal to his, rational side and say, we about to not get our butt kicks, but die.
But that's probably why you went to her.
You can spare some bread.
That's probably why
that's your wife. Because it's like, all right.
That's exactly right.
Because it's like, okay, all right. So if you did all of this, he's coming now to the wife and is just like, so this happened. Your husband was being your husband, and now the fan. There's substance on the fan.
Because the wife is the second in charge. That's the next person.
She absolutely needs to be put in the loop. For what she's now.
So what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay.
What you gonna do?
Wiggle. I'm sorry. So, if it was within those circumstances, for one, it's good that the servant went to her, said all of that, especially since as wife and then as runner up in some situations. And then it goes back to who you married. If you already knew that he was mean and you're probably with a bit of the meanness, then if it's not a conversation of see, this is why you need to watch your mouth or watch your temper or, regulate who and how you are, especially towards people. And if she does not care about that stuff, it should be a conversation of, you should know how to pick your battles, even if you're not going to be mindful and considerate to other human beings and just be blatantly.
So I want to sum this up.
Are you going to nup or are you going to buck?
Yeah. So I want to know. So are you going to talk because we're about to read about what she did.
Either way, it's a yes. Mm-hmm. I'm saying it's going to be one of the 2 conversations is what I'm saying. If you're
but you are going to have a conversation to him though.
So to David, my husband. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, not David. No. Yes,
Nabal.
Yes.
So you immediately go address Nabal.
Yeah, I'll be like, babe, what is going on?
Okay. Now
you're gonna get smacked down.
Hold on. Now hold on.
Probably worth it.
Hold on. Now I, on a personal level, agree with you 120% that her first call of duty should be go to address her husband.
See what's really going on in his side.
Yeah, just to address her husband, because what Jen pointed out, he's an evil, wicked man. He's a no good man, and all that. And all of that could be true. All of that is true. At the end of the day, she married him. That's her husband.
Yeah, she knows.
Her first loyalty should be to who?
To her man. And if he's messing up, be like, and knowing who and how he is, be like, babe, We got to know at
No.
least the battles. I
No,
know she
there's
can
no
talk to
choice
me
back in the
about
day. It
Yeah,
wasn't like she
I was
chose
about to
this
say,
man. It's
yeah.
not like I chose Lyndon and Lyndon is a mean man. I knew Lyndon was a mean man.
Still your husband,
This
though.
is her. But I didn't choose him. So therefore, I'm stuck
Well,
with
hold
him
on,
because
hold on.
I'm a woman back in the biblical days.
I don't. All right. So to say he chose him or not chose him or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, even you being in charge, second in charge, or whatever the case may be, is put because of him. This is his business. Like his family. It's not like he not taking care of his family and anything. You know what I mean? Like at some point, we got to personally, he was an evil man, but we can see that he was a great businessman. Yeah, she's where she is because of him. He was able to provide for his family. He has an army of dudes himself. Like, he wasn't no slouch. So evil, okay, I'll give you that, but he still was a great businessman. And to me, she owed him. She's doing whatever she was doing. She was put in a position because of him to be able to have somebody run up to her and tell her what's going on. But what we're going to do right now is not focus on Nabal. We're going to focus on Abigail and her actions right now. Verse 18. Abigail hurried. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 leather bags full of wine, 5 cooked sheep, a bushel of cooked grain, 100 cakes of raisins, 200 cakes of pressed figs, and put all these on donkeys. Then she told her servants, "Go on, I'll follow you." But she did not tell her husband. Abigail rode her donkey and came down toward the mountain hideout. There she met David and his men coming down toward her. 21. David had just said, "It's been useless. I watched over Nabal's property in the desert. I made sure none of his sheep was missing. I did good to him, but he has paid me back with evil. May God punish him. Punish my enemies even more." Sorry. "I will not leave one of Nabal's men alive until morning." Verse 23. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed her face down on the ground before him. She fell down at David's feet and said, "My master, let the blame be on me. Please let me talk to you. Listen to what I say. My master, don't pay attention to this worthless man Nabal. He is like his name. His name means fool, and he is truly a fool. But I, your servant, didn't see the men you sent. The Lord has kept you from killing and punishing anyone. As surely as the Lord lives, and as surely as you live, may your enemies become like Nabal. I have brought a gift to you for the men who follow you. Please forgive my wrong. The Lord will certainly let your family have many kings because you fight his battles." Let's stop right there.
Yeah, she's saying a lot. She is saying a lot. I understand why she dipped. Okay. All of the questions and statements are making the clocks turn for me.
Okay. So you understand why she left?
Yeah, I understand what she felt as though she was doing and just doing it. He asked for helping, but then
Who asked for help?
didn't David want some? He went over there just to get a little support.
No, David was going over there to handle business. He wasn't trying to get no support.
But yeah,
He got 400 men with him
And left 200 back.
and left 200 back. He was going to handle business.
He was going to kill
She was going over there
everyone.
to soften David up. I bought you some cookies and.
But wasn't that originally from him, like going over and just trying to do not regular, but like some business with Nabal, and he was being rude, and she's kind of like being like, yeah, he was being a fool. As to where I'm saying, like, she said a bit of some extraness.
Yeah,
I see what she was originally trying to do, but then like, All right. But then again, we understand why she's coming that way to an extent, but then like that kind of furthers, it makes the situation look even worse. And then now it looks a little bad for her. It's like, why, that's your man.
Exactly.
I see why you're trying to be his woman and maybe trying to help him larger and
She threw him under the bus.
She
not the
didn't throw him under the
conversation,
bus.
but
She
just
threw him under the
bringing
bus.
the
Under the
things.
bus. She actually moved the bus because the bus was coming
She said
to
Jesus
hit all
took
of
the
them.
wheel.
Okay.
Jesus took the wheel because he was not gonna.
She threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
Listen,
Actually,
hold on. Listen, I went over this story on a previous episode on this show with Samantha, right? And in that story, me and Samantha was talking and everything, and we was going over this story and stuff, and in detail. And Samantha was, animated about how she felt about it, kind of like how Cuz is today. And one of the things that, for me, regardless, and again, I'm not saying this personally about Samantha, but Samantha even told us a story where she had said that she was with her husband and they was in Newark somewhere, and she was pregnant at the time, right? And she said that some bum walked up to them in a chicken shack. So imagine, in your case, Kennedy's or Crown Chickens or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And some bum walks up to her, said, "Give me your money." Said this to her husband. And her husband was conversing with the bum, and he was getting aggressive. Samantha said that she chose to run out the store and run away.
What this guy?
She ran out the store and ran away. Pregnant on top of that. Almost getting hit by cars and everything. Running in the middle of the street, screaming. When it's all said and done, she said her husband said, "Yo, why did you run? I could have protected you. You're my wife. Like, why would you run?" And she ran. I don't know.
She said he was already irrational. Now he cursing you out.
My point is, that was a clown move to me. I felt like, that was very much cowardly, in my personal opinion.
Maybe irrational, but like if she felt as if it was already.
I feel strongly about that part. I feel strongly about this.
Baby.
I feel the same way and strongly about this. Abigail threw my man under the bus. Yeah. She wilding. She ran away. You know what I mean? I grew up. Now, maybe Cuz can look at it from a female's perspective or whatever the case would be. Y'all can look at it from whatever perspective y'all want to look at it, and I'm open to hear it. I'll listen to it. As a man growing up in Jersey, we always, you come together, you lead together. That's just what it was.
Well, they needed to dip, and he was not.
I got you. She didn't even never have. She wouldn't never. The servant said that he don't listen to nobody. So more than likely, he probably ain't listen to her neither. You know what I'm saying? She took matters in her own hand and did what she did. But if I was David, I'm gonna be honest with you now. From my perspective, if I was David and my man Shorty, this is the crazy part of the whole story. Because if I was David and Shorty came and did what she did, right? If we read the rest of the story, David ends up marrying Abigail. I wouldn't have married her. She not loyal.
Hey, well, but if it's not chosen, well, yes, because either way, like contract, whatever,
I wouldn't have married her. She's not loyal. She wasn't loyal in that situation. What makes you think
that time frame, in that mindset, you would think
she's not loyal? I wouldn't rock with her.
Is a
And she still set Nabel up when it's all said and done, because she didn't even tell Nabel what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Did him dirty.
No, you're not. We're gonna agree to disagree on the Samantha thing. I don't know about running out into the streets, but I'm gonna tell you that I, like, as a mother, even with my kids, I remember one time it was raining and we were at this amusement park, and I have adult children, so my adult daughter was with her kids, and we drove together, actually in her minivan. So she had her keys. we had separated. I went to the vehicle. She hadn't gotten there yet, and it poured down raining, and it was me and my youngest daughter. I told my youngest daughter to kneel down, and I leaned over the vehicle, and I, like on the side, and she was underneath me. And she was like, Mom, but you're going to get rained on. I said, it doesn't matter. Like, when it comes to between you and I'm always that I'm going to go first. Like, I'm always going to protect you. That's what I said. So one time we were in a situation, and she was telling someone, my mom will die. She'll die. She's the one that's going to get killed before me.
She said, "My mom
They were
is 0
like,
to 100."
What? She was
for
like,
me.
yeah, my mom will die, but it was because she always knows that I'm going to protect you first. Like,
And that is
so
suspected.
to me, yeah, exactly. So to me, as my husband, if he's in a situation and I feel like I'm unsafe, I would move, especially if I'm pregnant. I'm gonna
Be that
remove
umbrella.
myself from that situation. Part of me, I guess I can handle things too. I might want to stay by my husband's side, but I would more than likely expect my husband, or I wouldn't buck up to my husband if he took his hand and ushered me like behind him to say, hey, wait a minute, this ain't, nah. I don't know how things going to turn out. I don't know what this guy has on him or whatever. So I'm gonna push you behind, like, you get behind me, because he's the head. So to me, Samantha running out, that wouldn't bother me. I'm saying I'm not a
bothers
man,
me.
but from a man's perspective, and from me protecting, like, if I'm in an argument and there's a present danger or suspected danger, I want my kids to be out, get out of the way.
Because why
She
is
wasn't-
it escalating
She wasn't
like that,
running.
though?
She wasn't running because she was protecting her pregnancy or anything of that sort.
Well, even herself. I mean,
Yeah, it's a bomb.
I wouldn't want.
And then the way that he responded to him, if you are standing with your pregnant wife, or you're pregnant, the person you are with in that situation, I don't think you should allow it to escalate. The way you should have the way y'all should have rushed away, the way you should have said no, not carried a conversation, gave him some money, or chose anything
Listen,
else.
I hear everything
Left
that you're
with her.
saying. I'm not disagreeing with any of it. There's ways husband could have de-escalated it or whatever the case may be, but
You
I
don't think she
couldn't
should have
picture.
ran. You
I
should
can't.
have stand by her
I
man.
can't. I'm telling you right now. If I go somewhere, if I don't care if me and you go somewhere, I don't care if I was in North Carolina and cousins with me and we go somewhere, and somebody approaches us and cousin turns around and just automatically start running. Yeah, I can't rock with you no more. I'm sorry.
If you're not,
It's just, we
Well,
family.
let me say that
we family and
honestly, I
everything.
guess
We family and all. I keep it cool, but I can't. Nah, that's not.
for me though, in that situation, you're not my man, and and I feel like if you're down in my space and we're out there together, then we're together. Even if I have to say, okay, we're good, back off or whatever, like that. But let me say, that's that situation. Abigail, actually, to me, David saw wisdom in her. David saw wisdom in her and the value of her being a wise woman. Even you say she didn't come home and tell her husband, but you realize he was drunk. So wasn't even, if he's already rational when he's sober, what's the point in telling him when he's drunk? She told him the next day what happened, and his crazy butt literally like went into a coma because he was just like, what?
Listen,
Like, oh my gosh.
again,
I don't know if
I'm
he
not
was
just. I don't want to justify Nabal at all because Nabal was an evil man, wicked man. I'm not justifying him at whatsoever. He's at fault for and he deserved to get everything that came to him. I'm not questioning that at all. So I'm not for Nabal when it comes down to that. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that's clear. But I'm also going to sit here and say, me personally as a man, in a marriage or whatever, I'm not for Abigail neither.
With the wording of Jen's opinion, I just see more of why she would view it that way, because especially just off what you said, of he was seeing, okay, beyond the poor delivery and maybe timing, because he was already set in what he wanted to do.
Well, y'all speaking of David right now, right? I just want
Yeah.
to make sure I'm clear on what we talking about. David.
Yes.
Okay.
And so he probably saw that you know, against her speaking bad of him and like making this kind of decision, she probably taught him something else of where of in the beginning we were saying, you know, this should be, it depends. It should be like a man to man, business man to man, king to king, whoever conversation. And her just going straight forward, you know, that could have taught him something. There's levels of this of him seeing like how she values how things should go and the person that she's with, and like her saying, I know that this was foolish, even though she very much was reaching. She crossed the line in many areas, but he was probably looking at the bigger picture of things and like taking himself out. Like, wow, like.
All right, I'm going to say this again, and I think y'all giving David a little bit too much credit for this one. Y'all, from me understanding what y'all saying that Abigail came to him with wisdom and understanding, and she told him, and he was like, "Oh, I see, you're a very intelligent woman, and I'm going to spare you," and so on and so forth.
Not intellect, wisdom.
Wisdom
Wisdom and
whatever.
intellect are two different things.
I got you. So you're saying, yeah, and all that. That's how y'all want to look at that, and y'all want to play it that way. Y'all want to spin the story that way.
That's not a spin. That's reality.
Yo, listen.
Thank you.
There's three ways to
reality
reality.
is this. The reality is this. At the end of the story, David left with like 2 or 3 wives. Not just
That's
not,
The
not
men of
just
that
Abigail.
time was doing that. So
So I'm
That's
saying,
right.
so
There
they,
you
all right,
go.
cool. So
you're
the
saying that it made it didn't matter by the end of the day.
Her position in it made no difference. Her wisdom and he didn't marry her for
Yes, it did. It saved her and her whole household.
It saved
you
her.
realize
Hold
that
on, it
Abigail,
saved her.
not only
Yes.
her entire family's life, because he was coming there to wipe. He didn't even kill Nabal. She saved everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
She
and then
saved
stepped
everybody.
Up. But
I'm not disagreeing with
Yeah.
you. She saved everybody, but that's not why he married her.
Well, I mean, he married just because she was either going to be a widow and have to marry somebody else, or just be a widow for the rest of her life, or now she doesn't have to work or do anything because she's set up with David. And the fact that he got more wives means she probably have to do less work.
And then I'm hearing the both sides as well, because you're just
because I think she's one-sided on this one, and she's not really seeing the big picture.
Because you're just like it could be one or two to you. Well, from my perspective of what you're saying, it could be one or two ways of where it possibly him seeing all outside of delivery and everything I just said, him just seeing certain things and going with her, being by her side, and yes, the mix of what Jen said of, yeah, well, that's how it was at that time, and it probably took a load off of her. Maybe she didn't care, maybe she was used to it, or just like knowing of that time. But then like more of on your end, you're like, hey, well, it's not all that a plus, especially he now has other wives in a sense of like
That didn't have to do anything.
and now I got your girl, and so I spared you.
He was dead.
Sure, but that's so you could live with what you did, or like live with. You feel me?
God did
I see
that.
what you mean. Yeah,
Not David.
but still,
He was dead. I mean, okay, so Aaron, you stay on your side of the fence. I will stay on my side, and Madison, you will tiptoe.
yeah, I'm developing.
sit on
the
the
fence.
fence.
Yeah, the more I learn of everything that's happening.
Well, so I want to
Literally, his
define
name meant fool. He was not wise. He was
so
an idiot.
Again, I'm not justifying Nabal at all. I
Right.
want to make sure I make that clear that I'm not for Nabal. I'm not defending Nabal in no way whatsoever. I am saying Nabal had a right to feel the way he felt. You know what I mean? I am saying that Nabal had a right to feel the way he felt. I feel like Nabal had a way to handle it the way he wanted to handle it. You live and die by the decisions you make. You know what I'm saying? His decisions, he had the choice to make that decision, and arrogantly, it would have cost him his life. You know what I'm saying? And that's on him. He got to own that. That's on him.
But it was,
Hold on. That's on him, right? So I want to say this because a lot of people looking at the story and everything, right? And say, oh, well, it's not fair. Listen, back in the day, a man can make a decision, and based off that man's decision, his whole family get wiped out. You understand what I'm saying? When my man stole, I forgot who it was, but my man stole the idol. this was in Joshua's day or whatever the case may be. A man stole an idol. Joshua and them found out.
They killed his whole family.
Killed his whole family. His wife was innocent. Children were innocent. Had nothing to do with it. The whole family had to go because of the man's actions. Right. So I'm saying, Abigail, I'm not feeling her actions. And at the end of the day, if she was married to Nabal, like I said, Nabal was the head of the household. He was in charge. You live and die by his decisions that he made. That's what the kingdom, that's what a leader is. You know what I mean? You live and die by the leadership. You know what I'm saying? So to me, you know what I'm saying, she wasn't loyal. Y'all can say she had a right not to be loyal, and y'all have the right to say that too. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying, but her actions to her husband was not loyal. If the conversation is about, did she make a great decision on choosing who to stand by? I would say, she made a great decision to stand by David. She not only saved her household, she saved her life by cooking for this dude, making bread and bringing him wine and
200
yeah,
loaves.
200 loaves,
wow.
catering to this dude. She, you know what I mean? She put her best foot forward and cooked it up for him, had Thanksgiving for him. You know what I'm saying? But I still think it was a cowardly move on her end too. And I'm saying at the end of the day, like, we can agree to disagree, and that's cool. But I'm not really disagreeing with y'all saying when you talking about Nabal's actions. I get that, but at the end of the day, to
Had
me,
nothing to do with her, but then still everything.
that comes back to if in the Bible, if I was in these days and times, and my dad made a decision, and I got to stand by and live with it, so we gonna go out, we gonna all go out fighting together. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. If they gonna stone him, and I gotta get my family, we gonna take the L together.
So you telling me that if you had a chance to do, if one of the servants came to you, now this is not your dad. This is not your dad. Your typical, the way your dad, he doesn't exhibit the same characteristics as your dad today. He exhibits the characteristics of Nabal. So his name means fool, and he's already mean to you. You grew up in a mean, and so one of your servants you didn't know, and he's like, oh man, David. Listen, you already know.
I'm gonna say this to you.
Would you not do what Abigail did?
I don't know. I would say no. I don't know. First off,
you just said you would go down. So
I said I don't know because here's my thing, right? A name. His parents gave him a name. He's a fool. Well, listen, he's a fool because of the decisions that he made. But I can't say that all his decisions that he make are bad decisions. If the man is rich, and let's say he got it on his own, you know what I'm saying? Just like I could sit here and say, like, I was looking today on the TV, Ja Morant, famous basketball player, dumb decision, stupid.
I stood beside him though.
Stupid decision. Go on, numerous times now. It's like in a matter of a month, my man is waving guns on IG, like, retarded, like, stupid. You know what I'm saying? Stupid decisions. You consider him Nabal. You could say he's a Nabal in this situation. But I can't take away that, he's a great basketball player. I can't take away the hard work that he put to get in the gym to get to where he at. So I'm saying, you can look at it like that too. And that's a fair argument. He wilding. I'm saying that he wilding. You know what I'm saying? He bugging. Stupid.
So if his wife was like, went to the people, his manager, and was like, hey, listen, this dude, he needs meds. Okay, he's acting stupid. He's really acting stupid.
Here's
we all
the
know
situation.
He's acting stupid, but he needs meds. Can you please give him meds?
Hold on, Jen.
And save his
Here's
career.
the situation, though. Here's the situation. My man is at a point right now that he's on the crossroad. He could possibly lose his basketball career, right? His neighbor could lose his life. If he loses basketball career, everybody that he's taking care of, his family, that's on his payroll, the people that he support, family, it goes away it goes away for him. It goes away for everybody.
But they're still living. I hear you.
I got you, but that's the consequences of his actions. Yeah, they're still living. In this particular case, the consequence of Nabal's actions would mean that everybody that's with him is not living. Just like in Joshua's day, when my man stole the idol, the whole family didn't live. Right? That's a consequence of the father's action, the person that's responsible actions. That's only one. There's many points in the story where there's people who made decisions, and the consequences of this decisions, the family had to, you know what I mean?
But all I'm asking is, we know, I mean, honestly, she went along with the things for, she did what they tell you to do if you have a bad marriage. She got out. She sought other counsel, and she got out. Well, actually, she didn't get out. The man died. Counsel. But she went to, I mean, I think that it was noble, courageous, and I don't think it was, I think she was just noble, courageous, wise. And David saw all of that because she fell before her face, sent all that stuff to him and to make reparations for or to apologize for the insult.
Okay, check it out.
That her husband sent. And I think if you would have done that with your dad, if your dad was Nabal, if you would have done that, I would, if I was your sister, I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah, because instead of a tit for tat, like if he came a certain way and he didn't like it, he could have honestly sent them back and say, well, let me speak with David. We could do this different instead of a big tit.
It wasn't on him to do that, though.
What do you mean it's not on him to do that? If instead of moving,
if you come in and ask me something,
he didn't. We said he didn't ask though. He wasn't.
No, asking. David came and asked. David sent men to ask him for something.
Oh, but by the end of it, didn't you say the second time he wasn't?
Second time, David wasn't. After the guys came back, David was like, "Yo, we just going to go take what's ours now."
Because even the servant acknowledged when he talked to Abigail that yes, they looked out for us. No harm came about us. Like they looked out for us, but now they're about to annihilate us. And there's no talking to your husband. Really, he pretty much said it's all on you because he said your husband won't listen. So to me, if you were in Abigail's situation, that's what I'm saying. Would you do what Abigail did, or would you just stay and wait for David to kill you and your whole family and the servants and your friends that are at your house?
So to me, I'm saying. So all right. So going back to me, if I was answering that question, to me it just depends. I don't know what the circumstances. I can't. Circumstances would dictate how you going.
Madison, what would you do? Aaron said he gonna wait for David to kill him, pretty much. Because at this point, if you hesitate, you gonna die. Because remember, she was like, yeah, let me get this done. And she hurriedly, literally reads that she rushed and got it done and went to David, fell on her face. I'm so sorry. We're stupid. My husband is stupid. Because literally saying her husband is stupid is saying we're all dumb. We're dumb. We're so sorry we did this, because she's speaking for her house. She's not necessarily saying this man ain't no good. She's saying we're no good. Blame me. Kill me. Don't kill my whole household. I'm bringing you this. My husband made a foolish decision. She is a wise woman, a wise, brave, courageous woman, because she was saying, before she said all that bad stuff she said about her husband, she said, blame me. If you're going to kill anybody, kill me.
I've stood
but
beside
please
him.
Spare the rest of them. She was, come on now, she was for him. She might have not been for him in the way that you wanted her to be, but she was for everybody in her household. And I would, if I was your sister, if you did that for me, if you went out and to when the servant said that to you and I'm listening and you're like, go cook some food. I'm cooking the food. Hurry up, cook the food, make that bread, and I'm taking it out to David. And you sent the servants, and then you went out to David and said, sir, I'm so sorry. My dad his name is Fool. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Just kill me.
Hold on. No. You're doing all of that because you're doing it out of fear.
Fear?
Yes,
I'm doing it
because
out
you're scared of
wisdom and being courageous.
Because they were scared of David.
If I was fearful, I would have ran.
No, they was courageous. All of that is impacted off the strength that they scared of David.
But that's still
all of that is impact on 400 men and my family.
So I don't know. Hold on. I don't know how many men Nabal had.
He had 400 men. and they
But let's
weren't
say he had
warriors. These are
200.
warriors,
We don't know. So I said the
but they're not
circumstances.
warriors.
Circumstances dictate what your reactions are. I'm not gonna do that for somebody I'm not scared of.
The word is still correct, though. Courageous either way would be with or without fear. You're still going to stand up for what you need to do. So either way, that's still courageous.
I think it's courageous because
Depending
if
on
she
what you need to do.
honestly, if
By
she was
definition,
afraid
it
and
still
she
is.
was if she was afraid, she could have ran. She could have ran. She could have
Absolutely.
ran
So,
with whatever
so
she
what's
had.
the question that y'all saying? What are y'all saying?
Yeah,
She's
what
saying
was the
that her
question?
actions. You saying her actions was courageous? If that's what you're
Courageous,
saying, all right,
wise.
cool. If you want to say that, that's cool.
And her marriage was bad.
I would also say, so if you were talking from an individual standpoint, this is because I think we are looking at it. You're looking at this from her as an individual. Individually, I will agree with you. What she did was courageous. She went against the grain, and she saved the people. I'm not disagreeing with you that, but and we talking in regards to her stance and being in a marriage. To me, what she did was cowardly.
She was never really in a marriage. She was just put in one. So she was
I think
still
what she-
looking out
I
for
think
the
Listen,
family.
I'm
A
not-
marriage is to create community. Yeah. She was protecting the community and herself.
A marriage is creating community. What?
Yeah, you know what a some kind of. I heard
sorry,
some type of. No, it's all good.
I'm not with
I heard
you on
some
this
kind
one,
of
man.
saying about like I don't know how the saying goes, but you know, two people getting married, and then like on a religious level, like you're getting married to procreate and to create community and be a part of Christ consciousness.
Okay. I'm following you on that.
I'm not.
I think, like I said, Aaron, no, I'm not thinking of her on an individual basis because to me, if she was looking out for herself, first of all, just on the strength, she said, blame me. The first thing she said was blame, or one of the first things she said was blame me. If she was not looking out for her husband and her household, she would have said, blame Nabal. Go kill Nabal. Please don't spare the rest of us because my husband is a fool. First thing, she said, blame me. If you blame anybody, blame me.
Ooh, almost
Then
perfect.
she said,
Nah, but listen,
Huh?
her first reaction should have been to go talk to her husband, though.
almost
Yeah, her
perfect
husband was
on
an
this
idiot.
with us veering to
Neither
this
here nor there.
direction.
If you and your husband was getting into something, and to me, your first reaction should always be to go communicate with the person that you with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With him being drunk, she still could have just analyzed the situation. Oh, what's going on with
He
this?
wasn't drunk at the time that they said that David and them first approached him. She
no,
had
but
time.
time was of the essence. Because he had already, the men were
Still-
going back to tell, and they knew, and everybody knew that they were going to be, when they came back, it was going to be death. So when the servant came to her, he pretty much told her that, look, we don't have time. Time is of the essence. And even he said, pretty much, if you're going to paraphrase, your husband ain't going to listen. So now it's all on you. What are you going to do? That's pretty much what it was saying. That's what that passage reads. Like your husband is not even going to listen.
I hear you,
You can't even
guys.
talk to him.
I hear you. I again, individually, for me, Abigail, what she did was cool. She saved the people. Individually, yes. But if we're speaking about this in a marriage standpoint, for me, what she did was not honorable. From in the institute of a marriage, she should have went to her husband, had a conversation with her husband. They could have devised a plan. If her husband could have said, yo, if you want to go talk to him, talk. I don't want to talk to him, but if you need to talk to him, talk to him. You know what I mean? That conversation could have been had. To me, she when we initially brought this conversation up, Madison even said that the first thing you do is go talk to your husband. To me, that's just the right thing to do.
But that's what I'm saying is the point, though. They were never. It doesn't sound like they were even a unit for that kind of unity.
Well, we don't know what their marriage was like prior to all of this happening.
With all her popping that
Yes, it
pop,
does.
she kind of gave us a glimpse.
Nah, she probably was. Listen, she probably was living good, yo.
An arranged marriage and living good are two different things.
I don't know if it was arranged marriage. That's Jennifer's.
Said he was a
Just
fool.
Jennifer's outlook.
That's how it was in the Bible. So she
we
was
don't know.
beautiful and wise. He was cruel and mean. I mean, what?
So if it was
what more?
arranged
That's what
marriage,
the Bible's.
if it was an arranged marriage, her parents must have thought that he could take care of her, though.
He was a rich
Financially,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
they
not-
probably.
Yeah, there's a lot
in
of
a line of marriage.
there's a lot of.
It's more than just financials in a marriage.
I know I'm married.
And so
Wait,
the
why you go
pages
pull?
being
I know I'm
different.
married.
Because
Hold
Being on
she
different
said it
pages,
she-
you say I'm
you're
married.
making it sound like
Don't say that.
she's making a point.
She still has a valid point. Yeah, I mean, she's just pointing out that in respects to Nabal, that finances are not the sole thing that you base on a marriage on, like a good marriage on.
As to
I
why she
and,
did.
I get
and
you.
I don't see what that
I'm
statement.
with you, Madison.
I don't see what that statement. I don't see what that statement had validity to it.
It was
when
necessary.
when I said the statement that I made was her parents chose him to marry.
Right.
For whatever reason, it was if y'all want to play her as, oh, well, she wasn't happy in her marriage, she wasn't this. I'm saying that her parents must have thought that he was a great choice to take care of her, that her life with him would be better off than whatever with somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm saying, whatever definition you want to call marriage is whatever. At the end of the day, I'm saying her parents, if you want to say it was an arranged marriage, all right, cool. I don't know if it was an arranged marriage or not. Did they do arranged marriages back then? Yes. I'm not saying that marriage was. We don't have any prelude to the story to say what it is. But if it was an arranged marriage means that her parents thought that it was wise for her to be married to this man.
And based off arranged marriage, it's all as well. But yeah, based on the depending factors of that arrangement, like we don't know if they scouted her to be with him or how that situation went, because his parents could have looked at them as well. Oh, she's beautiful. You guys would make a beautiful family if that was presented to the family. Oh, well, he's financially.
Well, I'm going to say this then. Y'all can paint it however y'all want, but just like David, I'm pretty sure Nabal was in a position where he could have more than just one wife too. So, you know what I'm saying? If he was a very rich man.
Well, that could have happened either way then, because that's just noted of that time.
I think that's why the servant chose the wise wife to go to, because it notates in the Bible that she was wise. And I think from the decision that she made and the actions that she took, in the timely manner that she took them for the situation that they were in, she showed wisdom and courage. And also she followed the what to do if you're in a bad marriage. Actually, she was there. She was even though it was a bad marriage, she still was for the marriage. Because even she was like, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah, you stretching this, man. You really doing a stretch right now.
No, I'm not stretching. I'm intact like a ball. I'm tight.
Nah, you stretching this one, man.
When she came back to him, she was like, "Oh, he drunk." So I'm not even going to talk to him because he's not going to react different. But she told him the next day when she was sober, because she could have just like you don't know how drunk he was, but she could have snuck that in and be like, "Yeah, so what I had, I was out there and I blah blah blah," and he's like, "Yeah." That's my drunk.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, and been good with it and went on, and he would have not even known that she literally saved the whole household. But she waited until he was sober and said, listen, husband, I know this is what you did, but this is what was going to happen. And these are the actions I took. And then let me tell you this. She was courageous, because knowing that he was a cruel and mean man, he probably would have done something mean to her. But she was like, yeah, I did this, and I'm gonna let you know that I did go behind your back and do this. So let's say this. She knew that if in your opinion that she was wrong, she was willing to take the heat for being wrong, for going behind her husband's back. Because she was like, I did it to save my family, and I'm not ashamed of it, but I'm gonna reap the repercussions or get the repercussions and let you know what I did. I'm still going to respect you as my husband and let you know what I did, whether you see it as wrong or not.
So then you're saying that she was admitting that she was wrong.
I'm saying that she respected the marriage in her head by telling him what she did. Because I believe that he would see it as wrong.
I think any man would see it as wrong. I think David would
I
even
don't
see it as wrong if David was in his shoes.
Yeah, of those times, I could see why you would say that all of them would think it was wrong. But even if it was a situation, because you're at a point was just like, well, still should have communicated with him. If he was under the substances and she went to him and was just like, even if he was or wasn't, if he was, and she went and was just kind of trying to get into the conversation, like, what's did something happen with you and David? What's going on with that? Whether he was drunk or sober, and she said that to him, and she made that decision. I don't know. It does. It's not the worst thing that could have happened to them, of which would have been.
All right, so to bring this to a close,
Mm-hmm.
the question is, was this a bad marriage?
Oh yeah, definitely.
The signs are there.
The signs were there. Mm-hmm.
All right,
On one side.
on both sides.
One side.
Both sides.
Yeah, there's lines. You can't pop about your man. It wasn't really the emotional affair. But talking bad, make your partner feel bad. No.
So are
Either
you
way,
saying
I don't know if
you saying it
this
was
falls
only on
on
one
the
side?
list.
It was a one side bad marriage? Or are you saying
She-
both?
No,
ways?
Madison is saying there's duality.
I wasn't going in that direction. I always will, though. I was just trying to figure out which one they fell under, and if anything, it's the state to minimize the negative impacts on the family. If you want to put anything on Abby, because yes, Nabal was it was a bad marriage. It was a bad marriage. If you want to give her any points, maybe she shouldn't have been popping.
I'm lost on this. They only.
I
to
did,
minimize
yeah, me
negative
too.
impacts on
You,
your
I was
family.
with you till that one.
Well,
We don't have
she
time
went
to
to
do that.
David to make sure she and the family didn't die. So she,
Yeah, I think you're reading that wrong though.
if she was, as Jen said, was willing to be like, oh, this is on me, I'm doing this for myself, my marriage, my family, then, she was still trying to keep a hand on the marriage as well. But only in the ways of helping the family and herself.
I don't see, real quick, I'm going to say, I don't know about the body language. I don't see where Madison, love you forever, but I don't see anything dealing with, no, she didn't stay only to minimize the negative effects. She actually helped, but all the other stuff, I think Nabal exhibited.
All right. Well, yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
I-
about
so
No,
I-
I'm
let me
sorry,
say this.
emotionally fair. Emotional
Let me-
affair.
let me say
not-
this.
not-
yeah, that's why I took back the emotional affair.
I think they both. I think it's only fair to say because the Bible describes Nabal as an evil man.
Mhm.
We really don't get a chance to see them interact with each other until at the end, Nabal and Abigail. So if I'm going to assume that all of these negative things were on Nabal, I have to also say that for me, Abigail actions, because his actions towards David is not signs of a bad marriage.
And that's why I added that.
His actions towards how he do his business is not signs of a bad marriage. And to me, him and Abigail's interaction with each other to say it was or it wasn't a bad marriage happens at the end. Now, so I'm going to say, if he's at fault for all of these things, Abigail does bear some responsibility for some of these as well.
And that's why I said what I said, because if anything she was to bear, it could have been to stay to minimize,
Madison,
because if she
we
went,
both don't agree with you on this one.
all right, and if she went to make sure herself and people were good,
We heard you.
and then she went and was, even though she bashed him in the beginning, was like, I will take accountability. I know he does this, and blah blah blah. She's trying to protect her people.
All right, we have to bring this to a close because we're well over an hour. Order in the court. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, Jen?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to you for standing your ground, even though you are very wrong. But I applaud your being strong, standing firm.
Any shout outs you want to give, Madison?
Shout out to God. God. Jesus has been taking the wheel for me. I love you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. That's all I got. And myself.
I want to give a shout out to the listeners who are listening to this episode. Thank y'all for listening. Please, I want to say this on 2 counts. If you're in a situation, be like Abigail and do the right thing and save your people. That is the right thing to do. If you're in a marriage, go talk to your husband first. Make decisions together. That is also the right thing to do. Order in the Court, Part 3. Holla at your boy. We out of here. Thanks for joining us. Peace.